next order of business is a conversation with Chris Hutchens, who is the creative director at Gabby and Summer Classics. And I think Don and I have talked about this off camera, and we walk through market sometimes. We come into beautiful showrooms and we say things like, gosh, it would be fun to have this job and set this up, right?
Absolutely. Would love to do it.
So,
I think
go ahead.
We'll figure out once we talk to Chris if I would love to do it.
Right. So we're going to find out if this is a dream job. So is Chris, can Chris come up? Oh,
I'm here.
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
How are you?
And I also have my hat on, so we're good.
Awesome. You got the memo.
Yeah,
It's an
exactly.
afternoon.
Oh, I feel left out.
Yes.
Go grab a hat, Andrea. So, Chris, welcome to the Designer Experience.
And I'll have to get my Mets hat or something.
That's good. That's good. Let's get closer together. So we're both in screen. You come over here. So, Chris, where are you right now?
I just got to Chicago, so my bag's already packed, so I'm ready to go to Mexico if that's where we're going next.
But what are you doing in Chicago?
Chicago, we have a casual market coming up, and so we're kind of just freshening up the showroom for a few days and bringing our new product so our customers see what we our new line. So just kind of freshen up the showroom. This one's not a big one. We have a pre-market, so we kind of do the big move there. So this one's a little bit more of the fluffing job, which is a bit more less labor intense, I guess.
Well, because market will be pretty intense. Is that just a Summer Classics showroom, or is it Summer Classics and Gabby?
This is mainly for Summer Classics. It's the majority of the show. We do have a small amount of Gabby here as well, just for people that are walking by, just to see, to introduce them to Gabby. But this has been casual market has been an outdoor market for as long as I've been involved with the company.
All right. So we're going to kind of round robin and ask you questions. So, Andrea, you're next. Can she hear us?
Okay, sounds good. So can you talk a little bit about how you got started in visual? And did you know, like, when you were a child, like, this was something that you were interested in? Like, how did you get started?
Yeah, I definitely knew this was something that I was kind of, was in my blood. I think my mom used to come in my bedroom, and I would have my bed catty cornered, in the mid of the, move the shelving around. I would move the bed around. I would move the rug around. Like, I'd always have something going on. And that was from a very early age. So I guess it was definitely something that I was meant to do. I started with, I did weddings and events for a while. I kind of helped out, ran a small little, it was called Atelier. It was a little French store. And I did that for about 3 years when I was young. I was like 18 to 21. And then I was really fortunate to grow up in a town where a company called Southern Accents, there were architectural antiques. And I was able to work hand in hand with designers and builders. And we kind of did the, the architecture of making a home look like it's been there for 300 years before it was cool. Like, we did the reclaim thing way before it was popular. And so it was really cool to be involved in that. And now the building aspect of it, and now the interior aspect of it, and it really all goes hand in hand. So I was fortunate to have that background.
Awesome. So creative director for a place like Gabby or Summer Classics, tell us a little bit about how you go about it. What are you actually doing for them?
With Gabby and Summer Classics, I do product development. So anything pretty much visual with both brands, I do both. And so everything from product development to kind of dreaming up what our vision is for the upcoming year and what we're going to be, me and the designers are going to be designing toward. I kind of come up with those. We're kind of in a year cycle. And so we come up with a plan, and then we all collaborate and really pick each other's brain and come up with these amazing designs that are usually about a year out. And so that's my job on both sides with Summer Classics and Gabby, is to kind of come up with these themes that we design toward. And then from the very beginning, from thinking it up, dreaming it up in our head, to putting it on paper, to sending it off to our factories and having them actually made. It's that whole process. And then we also do a lot of, I'm very involved in our photo shoots, our photography, anything to do with our brand across the board. I try to put my eyes on. I'm a one-man show with that kind of stuff, but we have an amazing marketing team, and then we have an amazing design team now they're just incredible to work with. And so I try to put my eyes on everything, but if it wasn't for our amazing team, there'd be no way, so credit goes to all over the board. I usually get, in the hot seat, I get the praise, but it's everybody else really.
So interior design and visual, are they worlds apart? Is it one and the same? Talk a little bit about the differences or the similarities.
I think they're really one and the same, or I think one complements the other. I know from my perspective, if I wasn't doing product development, and I would probably be an interior designer, I would call myself an interior designer, I'd do that. And so when you're connected in that way, I just think it's helpful because I know what is in the designer's mind, the people that are actually purchasing our products. And so I'm kind of looking at it from that perspective. And so I think that's something that, as y'all are all creative, you kind of just know from an early age, like you don't really have to go to school for it. You can go to school for it to get it curated and learn more and execute it better. But at the end of the day, if that's in you and you're an interior designer and you're really good at it, you can only learn so much. So I think some of the best interior designers out there are just bored into it, and it's really good to have that gift, that God-given gift, and use it in product development as well. It just kind of goes hand in hand. And so I think that's something that I love. I love that connection and the marriage of both of those together.
Right. You can't teach talent, right?
That's what I'll say. I'll roll with that just to make me like more important, right? You can't learn this.
But you can try.
Right. Absolutely.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks obviously your job is very glamorous, though obviously there has to be some elements that are maybe more, very challenging or maybe not your favorite. Is there one particular, what's the biggest challenge of your job?
In every dream job that there is, there's always the person. I heard you guys talking before. It's like, oh, I would love to do that job. And even when I used to do weddings and events, when I did that more, it was like, oh my God, you get to deal with flowers. Well, when you do big over the top things and big visuals and all that, and you want to wow people, there's a lot of work that goes into that. And you can't just, go through and do some small fluffing. You're in the woods with a chainsaw, you're cutting down wisteria vines, you're bringing in trees, you're bringing in the ambiance. And so you're doing all these extra things that are all this work that people really don't know goes into all the things that are behind the scenes to make it all come together. So, of course, that's always one thing is when you get done with it, at least you see the fruits of your labor in front of you. And that's the magical part of it, that you get to see it all and a finished thing, and people get to come in and enjoy it. And, you get to hear everyone, what their thoughts are on it and everything. So that's the gift of it all. And then I would say another probably challenge is just, especially with product development, is when it's materials and, making sure that you can dream up things all day long, but you really have to, it all depends on materials and factories and capabilities and all these things. And so that's always something that's you have to kind of learn at the very beginning is you can dream it up, but then reality hits and you have to make sure that, what you're doing is at the end of the day, smart for the consumer and then also smart for us from a manufacturing standpoint.
That leads into something I wanted to ask, how are you getting things moving right now with the supply chain issues that we're going through? And I heard you mention going out in the woods. Are you just going in the woods to find stuff or what are you doing? How are you getting things moving?
No, I am. No, when I was talking about going in the woods, that was more for the weddings and events. So I put that. I no longer do that, or I do one every so often. But the supply chain. We have an amazing team. That is, thankfully, I'm not on that part of it. As far as making sure that our suppliers are able to, get the product and all that. From our perspective, like I was just saying, what my purpose is and being a designer and working with our designers, we're making sure that we find the product that is available or the materials that are available, and we design to that. And so I think that's important. That's kind of our part from a creative standpoint. But then we have an amazing team that obviously always, is on top of making sure that our suppliers are capable and willing to deliver the product. And I'm just glad that I'm not on that team, because that's a full-time job for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I think one of the roles that you have here that I think a lot of us would be very envious of is you get all the one-of-a-kinds for the showroom, right? Like you were the antique buyer. So tell us a little bit about your scavenging habits, and are you going everywhere by yourself? Are you, do you have some pickers? How does it all get done?
Yeah, well, we've from the very beginning. I mean, we started when Gabby started. That was very much more of it was back when it was antiques with a modern twist. I mean, we heard that over and over and over years ago, and so we immediately just knew that. It was always a goal of mine since I was probably like 16 years old to be able to go to the south of France and get antiques. And now I'm working for this company that allows me to do that. So hashtag blessed there. At the very beginning, William, the owner that started Gabby, he and I would go over to south of France together, and we would, have someone kind of chauffeur us around and see all the hot spots. And it was really I don't know. It's an amazing experience just to see what's available over there, and how, like, when you're scavenging over here, it's a totally different way of scavenging, and over there there's so much that you want, and you just have to really prioritize what you want on that container and kind of go through. But the main reason we do that, though, is to complement our furniture, and where we've come today from that first time with Gabby opening the showroom, it was more of like I said, like more of a reproduction kind of feel, just modernized a bit. And now, if you know our brand, it has just expanded from that tremendously. But our core has always been that antique soul. And I love the word soul there, because someone a while back said that. I was talking about a piece of furniture, and I was like, and I couldn't find the right word. I was like, there's just something about this piece. And she goes, it has soul. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. Like all these antiques, when you bring them in, they have something about them, and it's the word soul. So I use that a lot. So you bring those into the showroom, you mix it with these furnishings that we've worked really hard to design and modernize and give a totally different look. And then you bring them together and you see how the marriage of the two look together and how they complement each other. And that's just something really cool. That's something that's a little bit more traditional and antique driven. All these antiques from the south of France, how they complement the furniture that we actually make today, I love that combination. There's nothing more beautiful to me than that.
So it is as glamorous as we thought it was. You heard him say he's being chauffeured around the south of France. I mean,
yeah,
glamour, right? Couldn't get more glamorous.
Now that would be the most glamorous part of my job. I will say, though, that there's been 2 different times when I've gotten pretty much food poisoning there, and I didn't enjoy it. And then one time that I lost my phone. So that took the glamour out a little bit for me.
So how do you get juiced up for market? I mean, we have High Point. Oops.
Say that again.
How do you get juiced up for market with a High Point coming up?
I didn't get the first part of that. Sorry.
How do you get, like, markets coming up, like, just your inspiration, your energy, you're traveling all the time. So, like, between, well, one, inspiration in terms of, like, do you ever just think, all right, let me go back to my library. Like, do you have an extensive library? Where does your head travel?
No, I mean, I usually talk to myself, and then we go. I talk to myself. I probably talk to myself more than anybody. But no, me and the designers, we go around, and I love just being in the space every time. There's so many times that there's only so much you can do with a piece of paper, and so we just like, especially in the High Point. I mean, you point out the High Point showroom. There's so much possibilities there. When you're there, you can really dream it up. And so we like being on site when we're actually, coming up with the way the showrooms feel and how we walk through the space and all that. And so, it's really what dictates most of our feeling is the product that has been that vision that I was talking about, that year vision that we start with. We have that vision, then we make the product for it, and then that product goes into the showroom. And so that vision was born about a year ago. And then when it goes in the showroom, we kind of liven it up and do all that. So it's kind of that year process there. And then once you put it in the showroom and you're there in person, as you know, there's nothing like being in a space in person. So that's where you come up with all those details that make it amazing. I know most of the showroom comes together pretty quickly, I would say. But then it's always, you need just about as much time to do the details at the very end. If you don't put that time aside to do the details, that's what separates you from the pack. And so we make sure that we have those last few days to really go vignette room by room and really look at it, study it, sleep on it, and come back the next day and make sure that when you come back in and you see it with fresh eyes, that it's what you want it to be. And so you got to give yourself that time with that as well. So I think that's always important. And to just know the items that we have the taxidermy, we have the antiques, and all the large tabletops, all these real things, like we said earlier, they have the soul. And once we put those into the space, I know that's what really makes it come alive at the end.
Will you be coming down here soon? Because I know there's construction and things happening. Can you just tell us a little bit about what's expected in October?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on there, right? I mean, you're seeing it as you're there. But
quiet for today, though.
What's that?
Quiet. It's quiet today.
Oh, good. Not normally, but yes, there is big plans. I mean, we just moved into that showroom, and we're already renovating. We call it the Baker Building. It was where we had our storage, the last market, and so that's going to move in. All the summer classics outdoor will be moving into there, and then Gabby is already going to be moving into where SC Summer Classics was before. So there's going to be a big transition there. There's going to be a different entry, and then we already have plans for the next market after that too. So it's a lot of, there was so much we want to do or we have planned to do, but it's got to go in sections because it's got to be done between markets. And so right now we'll be back up there. I'm excited to get into the SC space and really show it off. And then it also gives us more Gabby space, and which makes it definitely our largest showroom out there. So we've had a lot of great feedback so far on our showroom, and it's such a great place to, as y'all, when you're there, you see it's just, there's a lot of natural light that comes in. There's larger rooms, and it's very easy to lay out and show our product in a like, I know in Atlanta right now, I'm just like, please, we need more space, which we're working on. But it's when you have those bigger rooms, it just makes it so much easier visually and for our setup team to make it happen.
It used to be really hard to move around that space that you were totally outgrowing in IHFC. It was like, I'm going to trip. This is such a pleasure. I mean, it feels like, coming into a home really. And right. And now you can also do your photography here, which it's such an inspiring architecturally. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I know a lot of people think like our other showroom, I would much rather set up this 25,000 square foot showroom that you guys are in now, rather than that smaller one. What was it, like 2,000 or like maybe 4,000 square feet? It was horrific. I mean, I loved it when it was done, but it was a puzzle to fit all that together and make it flow and show the product and all that. That's when y'all asked that question earlier, that would be one of the pain points of my job, is those type of showrooms. But again, at the end, it's all worth it. get it all pulled together.
Cool. Chris, do you know we're giving away a table that we don't know you may or may have designed? Do you know what table we're giving away?
I do know what table we're giving away, and I have the person's name and everything right here in front of me.
Well, will you romantically describe it? No. Oh no.
What?
So will you give the table away?
Yes, we will give the table away. Is this like a bride? Like I'm giving the bride away?
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay, so the winner of the table, what did you just hear? There's an overlap. Is Tanga Winstead, and she's with Tanga Winstead Designs, and she's out of New Orleans. And it's the Irwin drinking table, which looks like this.
Gorgeous table.
I actually am using it as a side table here in the studio.
Oh, really? It probably doesn't look too good in the picture on this, but it's one of our products, our new metal materials, which is a hand forged look all the way down on the whole material is, and it's really a great little table. It was our best seller at market at that point.
Yeah, it's nice. It kind of has that mix. It's modern, but it has that nice hand evidence of hand. So
yeah, exactly.
Chris, well, we hope to see you down in High Point soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be there sooner than later.
To see the showroom in all its splendor. I mean, Don's a frequent, he gets here and we all come. So we'll see you soon.
Okay, good. And Don, I'll wear my hat like yours next time. It just doesn't have a red bottom.
Can't wait to see it. Thanks, man. It's going to be awesome.
I don't think I can pull the red bottom off, but I'll do the brown hat. All right.
You can do it.